Dylan, you've been a little quiet. What do you think about all this gravy? I know it's
Well,
not your wheelhouse, right?
no, I mean, I like contemplating it. Um, I don't really subscribe to any of the Yuga stuff. I think they're cool ideas for people, but we're not going back. We're only going forward, and I don't see any of this as a bad thing. I just see it as it's it's like the consequences of everything that we've done and that everybody's done before us. And while sometimes it might seem difficult for some people, other people are experiencing their highest and best selves in it. So it's kind of like a choice of how you interact with it. But going back to the chemtrail, I have like the realism aspect of it, where if you look at like a lot of the patents and stuff from like the 80s with like what they were doing with the ionosphere, I think it was probably, I mean, we don't know the extent to how we're able to communicate with this amazing technology, right? We're having like a cool bro campfire chat. Like this is shit that I would be doing on a Sunday night or something, at the summer home, whatever, all kicking back around a bonfire, but we're doing it in different parts of the world on this technology. And I think the chemtrail thing might have been something that started off with that technology to facilitate that, but also maybe there's a military function to it. And so part of it, I think, might be to protect us and from the other capabilities of people to attack us. But at the end of the day, if all of that stuff is true about the strontium, and it's in the patents, I've looked at them, strontium, the barium, all these heavy metals, they're using them. And that is going to cause serious problems. But at the end of the day, the earth will cleanse itself, it'll heal itself. So we just have to make the most of it, until somebody comes forward and, somebody has the courage who actually knows what's going on with that and is responsible for making those decisions. We're kind of, it's not really something we can worry about. And so I think whoever, if you're afraid, you shouldn't be, because there's nothing you can do about it. So you don't have anything to worry about. And if you can do something about it, then do something about it. And then there's nothing to worry about.
Very Buddhist.
I have
I
personal
also don't
experience with.
subscribe to reincarnation. I think you can, but I don't think it's a punishment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think God's going to be like, well, you fucked up in this part of your life. You need to go back and relearn this. I don't think that's how it works. It might be, though. I just don't. I think it's. I was actually talking about reincarnation, I think maybe yesterday, or oh no, maybe just in person. I can't remember where I was having this conversation, but there's a book called Gustav's China, his 3 voyages in the 1830s, and he's a missionary. And what he said about what was going on with Asia is that the people are so fucking miserable, opiate addicted. Their mindset is so fucked up. They're not good friends. You can't count on them. They're very like fickle. Like they'll pretend, like almost like Hollywood, where like everybody will pretend to be your friend, but then tomorrow they'll have a totally different set of beliefs or whatever based on their whims. And he said one of the things that was disturbing about that was that you have all these people who are just like, for lack of a better term, just like kind of like indigents or bums or whatever, and they all don't give a shit about getting themselves out of that situation, because in their mind they think that in a few more lifetimes they're going to return as a king and everything will be okay, so they don't need to give a shit. And I think that as a storyteller, that cheapens the stakes, where when you create a scene for a movie or anything to have value, every decision by every character needs to be the most important scene. Like, you have to raise the stakes, the most important decisions. And if you can just sit back on your laurels and go, if I fuck up, I can just come back, that's not a good mindset. If you're going to be great and you want to be remembered and you want to make an impact on the world, you have to come at it like, this is it. This is it right now. This is it. I'm not guaranteed that I'm even going to see my bed tonight. I could get in a car accident on the way home and that's it for me. But guess what? We had this awesome conversation and we made the most of what we had right now when it mattered. And I think that's how everybody should approach the world, is live in the moment as best as you can and trust your instrument. And when you start having fear or nervousness or all these other emotions that don't really serve you, it's because you're thinking about outcomes of how maybe things should be or what you wanted it to be, rather than just live it, breathe it, embrace the moment. I've got a yellow sun, in case you can't see, shining upon me right now, and it's gorgeous, and it's not white, and it's soft, and I'm looking at all these vibrant colors. It's like I'm in Elysium right now. So I guess I think,
Golden hour.
yeah, I think a lot of this is just, it's subjective. Not that reality is subjective, but I think your experience with it is based on, going back to what we were talking about with the mind. What you think of everything is how it's gonna translate to how you react or perform in this environment, which is going to ultimately create an set of outcomes, whether you want it to or not. So you have to try to think of, okay, what thoughts are going to serve me best that I can act on and create the outcomes or the consequences that I intend.
I think that's awesome.